Learning a job in FF14 is fairly difficult, I think. Despite claims of the game becoming more homogeneous over time, containing an element of truth, each job still has a good amount of nuance and requires effort, thought, and planning to excel at. Well, with a few exceptions. For me, I'm good at healer. It's my main role, and there are a few other jobs that I'm very comfortable with and can naturally pick up on quickly, to the point that I feel like I don't need advice. With others, though, I'm bloody clueless.
Wait, I've whiffed my rotation this pull.
In an attempt to fix that, I've teamed up with one of FF14's most knowledgeable black mages to see if he is able to change my ways. Over the course of a week, he'll be doing his best to teach me how to play his job to an acceptable level through a variety of exercises and lessons. And at the end of the week, there will be a test. With Black Mage's major rework occurring on Dawntrail's release, I'm hoping to answer one question. Is it easy now, or does the Master Caster still contain hidden depths? This video, whilst not a job guide, will likely contain some tidbits that will help any aspiring Black Mage player excel. Will I succeed, or will I disappoint my teacher and crash out of the program with an F? Before we jump in, if you enjoy videos about FF14 as well as deep dives into its past, please do consider subscribing. It means a lot to me. This is Taco. He's played Black Mage in FF14 for many years now, both originally as a casual player and more recently in hardcore raid progression. He also has the unfortunate job of being my teacher this week. Each day he'll get a chance to drill as much into me as possible, using his own personal learning preferences, and for all intents and purposes, I'll do whatever he wants. He knows that I'm not a complete beginner, and that I have an understanding of the basics of playing FF14 well. He's not going to be teaching me my ABCs, but we will, however, be starting with something fairly simple for day one.
I wanted to start from the basic of the Black Mage. First thing you do with every job, usually, at least this is how I learn, is I look at the opener.
If you've ever played Black Mage before, the basics are simple. It casts fire, ice, and thunder magic. The fire does big damage but costs big mana, the ice is weaker but restores that MP, and the thunder is a dot that you generally want to keep up. If you do 6 Fire 4s in a single cycle, you get a Flare Star to use, and Flare Star is good. You want to end a fire cycle with the spare, you want to press the Xenoglossy button, and there you have it, you're playing Black Mage. The rest of my knowledge is spotty, though it extends to just using tools like triple cast to keep uptime, and doing my best to handle that core loop as well as I could. What I'd learned today would make me rethink many of the fundamental rules I had just assumed were true.
You can move these things around in the opener, depending on if you need to addle, for example. If there's like a raid wight in the start of the boss, you can change the swift cast to a triple cast, you can move the timings of different spells and stuff like that. But that's the basic canvas that you can start painting on in the long run.
I'll try the opener in a minute. Let's see. If
all right.
It might take me a few times to do it right, actually. We'll see.
That'll do, yeah.
Go dry on MP. Use the thing. As far as I saw then, unless I did it early, the High Thunder, they have you refresh early, right?
Correct.
Is that to catch buffs?
It is to catch buffs, yes. You probably refreshed it around 8 to 6 seconds.
Yeah, it was like 7, 8, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that
so
region.
So it is a game. You can also delay it so that it catches the end of your potion, depending if there's like movement. Generally, when I go into a fight for the first time, I take the safer route mechanically. Then if I see that, if I know this early on, while I'm progging especially, that okay, there's no movement here, I can just wait until the despair and triple cast in. Then you can shift the rotation towards that. What Transpose does in this opener is that you go from Astral Fire to Umbral Eyes before you cast Blizzard, so it removes the damage penalty that you would get from Astral Fire. The Astral Fire Transpose, you keep doing this together with the Fire Starter pretty much throughout your whole single target rotation.
And Paradox isn't affected by the damage penalties from Fire and Ice.
Paradox
right?
is not affected at all. Here you see that in the single target rotation, instead of after the transpose that switches to you into Astral Fire, you do Fire Starter immediately. The reason you are able to do that is if you keep doing your rotation for 2 minutes, you essentially gain an extra Fire Starter prod that you don't get during your opener. And that's the side effect of doing the 5/7 opener. It is the most potency, but it removes that extra Fire Starter. You use your mana font for the second time.
Is it okay to use the Fire Starter there for movement? Or should you try really hard to keep it for the next transpose back into fire?
In an ideal world, yes, but we don't live in an ideal world, and sometimes, especially during prog, you just want to prioritize movement. So
I'm gonna be so real though. Sometimes in fights, I just do shit. I just be pressing stuff.
Today, for the first day, we're not gonna go deeper into the hows and whys about the rotation. So what I planned for today is that you go into Alliance Raid, the newest Alliance Raid.
I don't know the fucking mechanics.
That's perfect. That's perfect then. That's perfect. Because
I did it once on release day, and that's it. I haven't been in since.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Because I just want you to be able to keep your rotation afloat as much as you can while doing the mechanics.
Yeah, I should have asked about AoE rotations.
We'll get into AoE rotations later, but basically spam flare, and whenever you have a flare star, just use it.
No! They're fucked up already! I used my fucking thing that you told me not to use!
Oh, greeting already.
It's okay, we're all
Yeah,
good.
it's alright, yeah.
See, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Don't worry, I will handle.
A comrade is down! Someone revived him!
I did a bad thunder there because I was like staring at the mechanic and couldn't tell what was going on, so I just pressed a button to press it. Because I was like midway through a transpose and I couldn't, like my brain space was like occupied to not know what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah. That's a thing that might happen, but again, it's better that you at least press something, and even if it's like the wrong rotation at the start, but while you're progging, you can just keep your rotation somehow going. It doesn't matter how ugly it is.
No!
Alright, we're using our tools. That's good.
Oh my fucking god. Tool this!
Can make a note of that part. That was something I want to go over after.
That my ley lines placement was dog shit, and then I repositioned it into where the enemy was. I'm sorry for my vulnerability, guys. Might be.
It's sometimes good to be vulnerable. Not sure if this is the case here, but
might be a little bit too vulnerable here. Wait, is this a gain? Can I? Is foul gain on 2? Can I do
foul
that?
is a gain on 2. Correct.
So I can do it off the middle Omega because the Ultima probably wouldn't hit.
Correct. Also, Thunder 4 is actually a gain on 2 targets compared to multi-dotting.
Oh, is it? Stay away from the lines. These lines are a no-go zone. Uranus Cascade? I don't want to hear nothing about that.
My favorite bit about old Stormblood Black Mage optimization guide was that you wanted to optimize your auto attacks.
Autos used to be good back then. They really did.
They used to be, yeah, they did. It would gain you like 20 DPS or something, but over the course of the
I remember like on Scholar, autos were actually big in Stormblood. Oh. I didn't know that was a thing. I don't think that happened the first time I did this.
Oh, actually, one thing. It's good to remember that you are able to shift around the flare star and despair timing. Those are interchangeable.
Yeah, that is something I
Yeah.
only learned more recently, actually. For some reason, I don't know why that was ingrained in my brain. I used to think, up until like a week or two ago, that you had to flare star before despair, because in my head, despair is just the end of the fire cycle. So it has to be the end, right? Because it's the end of the fire cycle.
At the end of day 1, I was feeling somewhat befuddled. Whilst I had learnt the opener and rotation quickly and for the most part was executing them correctly, there was a problem. I constantly kept running into situations where that rotation didn't work. I'd either lose uptime or it would line up horribly, and I didn't know how to handle it. It was clear that there were ways that I could use my tools that I didn't quite understand yet, and I really hoped that the rest of the week would shed some light on it. Despite that, I had learnt a lot, and having heard that tomorrow would be all about learning how to think about burst windows on Black Mage, as it was fairly different to most jobs in the game, I was ready to understand more.
So
So,
today is to work on the burst windows more, optimizing that, and specifically thinking about spell priorities. How the burst window works. Obviously, we want to stack Xeno glosses in there. Depending on the fight or your spell speed, it might change a bit. For example, you might run into situations where you are not sure if you can get all of the Xeno glosses in and a flare star because you are early on into your fire rotation. It is worth it to lose one Xeno glossy in the burst if you can flare star in instead.
so Flare Star is the highest prio, followed by Xeno.
So if you lose more than one Xeno glossy in your burst window, then it is not worth it to go for the flare star.
So only when it's a 1-for-1 trade, not when it's like I have 2 GCDs left and I can either to use 2 Xenos or fire for Flare Star. You do the Xenos.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay.
Flare star first, then Xenos, then Thunder, Despair, and Fire 4. You can get around by getting 4 Xenoglosses instead of 3 by delaying your amplifier a tiny bit.
Oh, yeah.
Normally when you get your 2-minute window, your amplifier would naturally come up before because of the way you use it in your opener. So it comes up a bit earlier than the buffs come out. And if you use it immediately, that means that one of the Xenoglosses is either going to overcap or you have to use it outside of buffs. If you delay it so that you use it after the first Xenoglossy within the buffs, then you can get 4 Xenoglosses. Basically, what I wanted to do today is practice all these spell priorities, especially focusing on the burst window, by making you do the newest extreme.
I don't remember the strat. I haven't actually PF'd the strats at all. This is very much me just trying to remember the fight. I've like fucked everything this time. I'm staying in fire here. I've got five stocked.
Okay.
God, that was rough. I delay the thunder refresh until ley lines end, so I can use it to set up for the hand. Like up until here, in my head, everything's going right. So now I'm like, oh, the 2s are coming now. So this is where I start. So I start dumping them, get my dot refresh under it. And then I'm like, I need to get mana font on cooldown, so I do that, and then I do the last Xeno. And then I'm like, what I should have done, I think, is... Let me get the exact moment. when I decide to press this, not all the buffs are out, so what I should have done, in my opinion, is I should have despaired first. To delay this.
Correct.
And then I should have despaired, ley lines. Hopefully all the buffs are up by then. If they are, Xeno, Amplifier, then I use this.
Yes, correct.
And then another Xeno, Mana Font, and then probably my dot refresh is up by then, I think. And then I try to pat. This is not good, but I try my best. So I get a foul on what I think should have hit 2. I don't know if it did. Use my dot here. Use another foul here. And then this guy comes up, and I'm like, ooh, yes. So I double flare on these guys. I think it only hits 2, though. But in my brain, there was a chance it hit 3.
What's your thought process? Did you have any thought process, like, when you... Because you know a 2-minute window is coming after this. Do you have any thought process here? Or was this...
I couldn't remember if people held them till after, or if they used them in this ad phase.
Okay, yeah. They use it after here.
That was my main thought process. It was, I don't remember what people do here. Do they save them, or do they use them?
So I think the play is to plan, especially that ad phase, 2 minutes.
And here I'm just like, oh shit, the boss is about to die. Let me quickly go into fire and try and despair. But no.
Yeah, you had the right mindset there. The ad phase is a bit tricky because just before our 2-minute windows, we fight the ads, and we might either have no resources or we might be in a funky. Basically, your rotation might be resetting at that point, and it's a bit weird because there's downtime. But there's some cool stuff we can do there because it is an ad phase. The mentality that I would have is that the first priority is to just have as much damage on the boss as possible and get away with using as little resources on the ads as possible. Those are my two mentalities that I would be thinking of. As long as the ads die, that's enough. Because you don't need full mana to be able to cast 2 flares. What I will probably do is I will try to go either with full mana or at least one Umbral Heart into the ad phase. So then you are able to cast 2 flares, a flare star, fouls, and whatever else you might need in there.
So here I go into this in fire with basically the only MP I use is from paradoxing up to Astral Fire 3 at the start of fire, right? That's where the 1600's gone. And then I start on these. I do 1 fire 4. Then I start the flares. Get the 2 flares off.
Yes, 1 foul, yeah.
And then I use another foul here. And I'm like, oh, they're nice and low. Flare. Like, just... I think what I should have done and what I could have done, I honestly probably could have thundered them.
You could have done. They're so low that you just thunder them.
Yeah.
And if the other one doesn't die, then you just paradox it.
And that would have fixed this whole thing.
Yes.
So what I do here, I've got 3 Xenos. And I thunder, ley lines pot, flare, and then start dumping Xenos and shit.
Yeah.
I'm holding the last Xeno till here, then I use it. I'm like slowly getting better at parts of the rotation. The ads still fuck me up though. I can never seem to get it perfect.
Yeah, the ads is tough. The ads is tough.
Day 2 had been much more of a struggle for me than the first. In day 1, I could wing it and things mostly worked out. I had felt like I kept up admirably despite my lacking knowledge. But today, I really felt the effect of the fact that I wasn't planning in advance. Black Mage was one of those jobs where if you played it just in the moment to moment alone, you would, without fail, run into these situations that made everything just fall apart, and picking up the pieces the next time around required careful planning in advance. Despite getting 3 or so attempts, I wasn't able to crack the disastrous Necron ads phase. Going in with full MP was possible if I thought ahead, and in my last try I managed it, but completing it without messing up the burst afterwards eluded me. I either misclicked and wasted my mana, or didn't plan enemy health efficiently and spent my precious flares, which locked me into finishing an AoE cycle single target. If I wanted to get it right, it was clear that I would have to plan and practice harder. I was here not just because I wanted to be okay and capable of doing the rotation, but because I wanted to learn to adapt, to understand. With that firmly on my mind, I logged out, hoping that whatever would test me the next day would click more easily.
We left on a bit of a cliffhanger, I guess. We started talking about ending your phases on flare stars. And sometimes it's hard, it can be hard to do that, but we have some tools, mostly flare, to get around that. And what we are going to do today is really focus on ending every single phase on a flare star. And what we are going to do is we are going to practice AoE rotation, because AoE rotations are a lot shorter, and it also lets us get into the attitude of either extending the AoE rotation and or single target rotation, or rushing it.
Please let me get this off. No! See, here I should have extended the fire cycle.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Yeah, we just want to cut it short. Because, there we go. Will I get this off? No. But I do have a flare star ready. So is full mana worth more than a flare star? Like, if you can either keep on a flare star, or you can get full MP for the next cycle. Is full MP the choice?
I will have to map that out and tell you actually after.
Okay. Because that last one, I finished the pack as, like, off double flare, and my flare star was up. And I could have, like, got MP back for the next pack. Or what I did was keep the flare star for the next pack.
Yeah.
Well, the mechanics are always easier. But I'm dying to the dot.
There might be an ad you need to kill.
There's an ad?
Yeah.
Well, I killed mine, and then I died at the same time.
Okay.
I had no idea there was an ad I had to kill. I'm going to be so real with you. I had no idea there was... What does the ad look like? Is it just a guy?
No, it's the machine that spawns. It makes the floor, like...
Bro,
burn.
I ignored it the whole time.
Yeah.
I just killed the boss. I didn't even look at the ad. No wonder that was harder than it should have been. I was like, this is like, why am I taking so much damage here? This is like a DPS check. I can tell you that ad doesn't spawn as a tank. That's the only way I've done this dungeon before.
So you can do this rotation with 5.6k mana. That's the least amount of mana you need to do this specific rotation. Yeah. If you had 200 more mana, or 150 mana to be specific, you could add a despair at the first fire rotation you to do before the mana font.
Okay. Try it now.
Let's get it.
Although I'm stupid and accidentally closed the page with it, so let's see if I haven't memorized it. Okay, 6450.
Oh, you can do a despair.
Ooh, okay.
Nice.
And dot refresh. Pa!
Let's get it.
So if you have enough to do the despair there too, you should.
Yes, you should. Hell yeah. I want you to remember 5.6k mana and 6.4k mana. Those are the two numbers you want to love those numbers. From now on, whenever you see 5.6k mana, you're the happiest man alive.
So 5.6 is being able to do that, and 6.4
Yes.
is being able to do that with a despair.
Yes, correct.
So do I want to do that every 2 if I can?
If you are able to do that every 2 minutes, yes.
How long in advance of the 2s do you set this up? Like, at what point is the 2s coming up in that sequence in an ideal world? You know, like on Red Mage, where you start melee combo 5 seconds before buffs and shit like that?
You enter 2 minutes right after your Blizzard forecast.
I feel like the difficult thing is deciding when to use what in each situation, right? Like, I think I'm starting to learn, like, the things you can do, and then the real struggle will be trying to put it to paper, to situationals.
If you've played Black Mage in Endwalker, you probably know about these cursed lines that you could do. And people are saying, when they made Dawntrail Black Mage, they really people were like worried that like Black Mage is like dead, or like all the non-standard lines, you cannot do them anymore. But actually they still exist. It's just paired up with the lucid dreaming. As you can see, there's a bunch of different lines here. Like all of these numbers that you see, every single line is a different rotation. And some of these are a gain over the standard rotation that we've practiced, and just on their own, and some of them are useful for kill time optimization and such. And one other useful tool, I really want to show this as well, is ffxiv in the shell. It allows you to simulate. Here, for example, I've been checking out some through P4 rotations for 2 targets, trying to optimize that, and it calculates the rotation's potency in real time. You can see it here, and you can just click spells here as much as you want to, and it doesn't allow you to do basically stuff that wouldn't be possible in game. So you actually have to like pay attention to your rotation. So if you don't have mana, you cannot cast fire spells, for example. And
so does this allow you to bring up, for example, you said you're looking at through phase 4. Do you have to like go and find elsewhere what are the uptimes of phase 4, or can you like put I want through phase 4 and it will like show you how much time you have in total and shit? Woo.
You are able to, if there's some presets. For example, you can see there is M8S full, M8S P1 to ads, M8S P1 post ads, and it brings up, there's also through timelines. So if we want to, we can bring up P3 plus P4. Okay, so it does. This is the start of P3. It starts.
Oh,
it shows
you
the
all the costs. Yeah, that's cool.
It shows all the costs. So this is really useful when you like actually want to map out your rotation.
Day 3 had felt, honestly, like a breath of fresh air. I was starting to get it. The AoE rotation acted as a really good vehicle to ingrain transposing on the job, seeing as you were doing it literally constantly in dungeons. I was beginning to get a better understanding of how much mana I actually needed to execute each type of rotation, and how at times you could bend the rules in specific instances to eke out more damage. What I learned really was that every time you were able to skip a spell in ice, it was mostly good, and the lengths you'd go to in order to manage that without sacrificing a flare star was sometimes a little crazy. Seeing this huge spreadsheet full of different situational rotations was intimidating, to be blunt, but I knew that I could ignore most of it and still be totally okay until I had more confidence. In fact, Taco had even said just that. I felt like I was on the cusp of being able to begin taking situations and seeing ways to handle them myself. I hoped the next day would be that revelation for me.
Voice might be a bit fucked today because yesterday I ate some food that was too hot, way too hot, and burnt my throat.
We're doing some savages today.
Which savage floors are we doing?
We are doing one savage floor, so we are doing M6s. There's, if you remember when we did the dungeon runs, we During the AoE rotation, we looked at a way of generating extra mana to cast a High Fire 2. For the AoE rotation stuff, the magic number is 4.2k. That allows you to either cast a High Fire 2 or a Paradox before the flares. Yo. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want to know?
What is this going to do for the ley lines? This has got to change the lines in some way.
the effects of the rotation, I think.
I feel like the potencies are shifting. Maybe Flare isn't a gain on too.
Oh my.
So standard opener, I've started leaning towards trying to use Swiftcast if I can, because triple's higher value. I use my second ley lines here just because it's a free spot and I'm not confident of where it's good to use it yet, and I just know that I'm not confident enough to use it in ads.
Yeah. I think this is a nice spot. This is where I usually use it myself too.
Here I don't like that I used the triple here, and I'm like, maybe I'll try and save it next time. And then I realize the AoE's on me, so I have to fucking go right now. Okay, so we go into ads. This is me going, oh shit. So I hold onto this for a bit. I think I delay the usage of this because it comes up like here, and I'm like, maybe I can get 2 targets somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think I use. Oh no, I use it here as soon as the. Oh, I use it on the Yan. What an idiot. So here I'm just trying to get used to everything. I get my thing, and I despair, and I do the thing, and I paradox, but then I think I misclick something and fuck up my mana. Maybe I don't. But I use I use paradox and F3, which is more than I wanted to, but I just delay the flare star for when they're here, you know.
Can you actually go when the Jabberwock spawns? I want to see what you did there. Okay, so you have full mana basically. That's still fine.
I use one because there was still a Moo up, and then I use another, and the flare star hits the Jabber as it spawns, and then I do 2 target flares and stuff on it.
Yeah, on 2 targets, make sure to Blizzard 4 instead of Freeze.
Oh, okay. You want to use single target ice, but AoE fire.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
And then because I'm scared for the healer, I use Xeno there instead of the one I should have.
Yeah, that's good.
And then here, I think things start going wrong a bit. So I grab the Ray, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to start hitting next? So while I'm thinking, I'm fire 4-ing. And then I see the moves start getting dragged up, and I'm like figuring how this is going to go, basically.
Yeah. It's like a lot, especially when you go in for the first time with a new job. Okay, that's still good though.
And here I fucked up my. Well, I do have Swift, but I'm like a bit like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And then I think I'd just do a standard rotation here. Yeah. This was just brain rot, basically.
Do you maybe have an idea what else you could have done? Because it fucks up.
Anything else?
Anything else? Yeah. I don't know, actually. I don't think we've talked about it. I don't know if you know this, but you can do 2 flares as long as you have even just 1 Umbral Heart.
Yeah, as long as you have mana, you can, right?
Yes. Like as long as you have 1 Umbral Heart, then you can do 2 flares, always.
Okay, so this 154 is what fucks this one.
And
what I could have done as well is either foul or thundered, and it would have been fine because this exactly. As I use it is when they're coming in, but they're not quite in yet.
Yeah.
So that's why I was delaying. Just watching these guys doing whatever the fuck they're doing. And then, would you do the flare star right away? It would depend, right? It would depend if there's stuff up or not.
Yeah.
Or would you do it anyway?
If there's no stuff up, then it depends. Like,
because the Jabberwocky is coming up, right? So it's like,
it is coming up. Yeah.
Let's say you run into a situation where you can either single target flare star and go into ice, or you can dump all your Xeno single target and then flare star on 2. Which one do you do?
I will do the flare star on the one.
You do the flare star on the one because there's
Yeah.
more fouls which make them over
Yeah,
time
yeah.
again. Yeah, okay.
And I can see that the cogwheels are turning, like you're starting to get into the way of thinking about your rotation, and then it's this constant like bombardment of like questions like, but what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens?
It's cool because it's like it feels like there's a lot of different tools and you're gonna use all of them, right? The end point is the same, but the way you get there can be very different, and the way you get there like really matters, you know?
Yes.
After our discussion, I went back in for one more clear of M6S and attempted to apply my newly learned knowledge. I still made mistakes, and it was nowhere close to a perfect run, but I felt that something had changed. When I messed up, a lot of the time I could see a path to fix it the next time. My job knowledge was improving. I also got my best pull so far, too, an 86. Nothing to write home about, but it was a sure sign that I was at least performing the fundamentals correctly, and was building off what had become a solid foundation. I was happy that whilst at the time I had felt like half of the knowledge Taco had drilled into me had gone over my head, some of the lessons had clearly stuck, and I was improving day by day, step by step. The next day would be my big test, the final one, and I was ready for it. My final trial was a simple one. I had been tasked with going into the most recent ultimate encounter, Futures Rewritten, and learning it on Black Mage. But it wasn't simple as learning it on Black Mage. The goal wasn't to clear. He wanted me to pick a phase, any phase, and plan it out in advance, using no resources aside from my own knowledge, then go and execute it, and show him the results, the fruits of my labour. So I got to work. I used that website he showed me, ffxiv in the shell, which allows you to plan out a rotation, and decided that for the sake of making it as easy as possible for me, I would plan out 2 or 3 phases instead of 1. This meant I would get as comfortable as possible with planning for Black Mage, and that I had the highest chance of piecing together one rotation that lived up to expectations. From there, I pieced together a rotation that in my head worked for both Phase 1 and 2. Phase 1 at a baseline was quite simple, everything was fairly standard, and most of the thought process came from how I would utilise my instant casts wisely to ensure full casting uptime, with the added nuance of a swift cast just before my 2-minute window later in the phase to give me space to easily use ley lines the second it came back up. Building from what I learned, I wanted to try and get 4 Xenoglossies and a Flare Star within those buffs, and with a mechanic up at the tail end of it, I had decided to delay most of the Xenoglossie casts until late in the second half of the buff cycle, so that I had access to additional movement in which to deal with the potential knockback and get into my tower, focusing the first half on rushing out that Flare Star. The only real problem I had was mana font. Because the phase ended so quickly after the 2 minutes, I didn't have time to finish an entire mana cycle afterwards, so I had 2 choices. I could either hold the mana font into phase 2, or use it regardless. I opted for the latter, not really sure whether this gamble would pay off or if I would instead disappoint my teacher. Because the first phase could end at any number of different times, I needed to be adjustable going into Shiva. So rather than rigidly putting together a plan there, I made the goal simple. Get up Thunder, get off 2 Flare Stars before the downtime, and pay attention to whether I needed to Flare Rush in order to enable that. I planned out phase 2 as well, though I was banking on getting perfect execution in the first if at all possible. Next, I had to go and actually execute it.
When I'm in my ley lines, I obtain a speed boost for the next 30 seconds.
Oh,
Please
no.
do not interrupt me in my ley lines, for I am not willing to leave for any mechanic, life, or strife. Yes?
I think that was
It was my fault.
You should have left the beginning.
Okay,
It took a couple of tries to get right, in no small part because I hadn't actually been inside Futures Rewritten for the better part of a year, but I felt like at the start something was just slightly wrong. Then I realised I had made a huge blunder. When tracking my spell speed on the website, I had used my current correct stats, which should be all fine and dandy. But Fru does not use your current stats. It's old content and it uses old gear from light heavyweight. I had a few pieces from that tier still that I could draw upon to not feel like a burden, but this meant that my carefully laid plan no longer worked quite as I had anticipated it to. So, I decided to do the best I could. I would follow the plan and see just how terribly it went wrong, adjusting accordingly. This actually went decently. There were a few times where I had to adjust my rotation a little or I'd lose important spells, but 95% of my plan still paid off with zero adjustment needed. I started seeing phase 2 a lot and managed to get a good feeling for when at the start I could do 3 Fire 4s into Flare and then Flare Star, or when I needed to cut my rotation short and rush to get that Flare Star out in time. That was my number one priority. I had expected the mirrors to be a problem moment, but it was actually one of the easiest segments of the battle so far. Because it occurred during 2-minute buffs, both after a downtime and before another one, if I wanted to, I could attain 100% instant casts and free movement for the entire thing, thanks to the more billion Xenoglossies and triple casts I had prepared. With some footage and a rotational timeline of both Phase 1 and 2 executed, all that remained was to be judged by my teacher.
We're going to do a standard opener, but one thing that's important is I have to ley lines on the first GCD, like after the Thunder. So the way that I got around it, I was originally like pulling from up here, but I felt like I was being an asshole to the shield healers. So what I swapped to doing is we do the opener, we get the ley lines out triple cast, and then we move the ley lines here so that we can do our stuff. We're going to do pretty much standard opener. I get my Flare Star and Despair, and then Untargetable. I want to do my second ley lines right away, so I Thunder, ley lines, Ice, Transpose, do this, and I've got the Addle up as well. And then my next goal here, there is only one deviation from this. I want to do, while I'm in these ley lines, 6 Fire 4s in a row. Whilst I have... So I haven't used an extra one of these yet. One to spend, basically, before the 2-minute window. And my goal is to use all 6 in a row and then use the Xeno into triple cast to position for this mechanic. The only deviation is if I get the first tether, in which case, to be safe, I use the Xeno a little bit early in the triple cast, but which doesn't change anything, really. And then we're going into the 2-minute window here, coming into Fire. And the reason that I did the ley line so early is that coming out of this Fire 3 refresh, the ley lines auto weaves. What I usually want to do is I don't use these Xenos yet. I think I maybe sometimes use one, but generally the goal is to get the Fire 4s done ASAP because there's a mechanic that pulls me out of ley lines for at least one GCD, right? But my goal right now is I want the Flare Star gone, and then I spam Xenos before the raid buffs drop. After I do my Fire 3, I can do 3 F4s. If it happens before I do my Fire 3, I have to cut my rotation. So here I'm like, okay, I have to cut my rotation. I actually, if I remember rightly, I think I fucked this up and I could have done 1 Fire 4 before the flares. This is the same as before, where my goal is to get the fires off ASAP, like rush the fires and do the Xenos in the second half. I do one at the start of raid buff so I can press Amplifier and then get all the rest off, get the Flare Star out.
Yeah, I mean, you've clearly like grasped like how to like plan your rotations around kill time and such, which was the goal. What you could do is you could actually Lucid Dream here and just do the Blizzard 4, and then it would allow for a couple of Fire 4s into this Flare Star.
Oh, that's
That's
a good
this-
point.
I think this rotation is good. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I'm glad you've enjoyed it too. It's, I mean, compared to like what the what we started with, like this is if I had a black mage doing this rotation, which I mean, I was in your party, right? Having a black mage do this type of rotation, I think it's good. Like I'm happy to play with a black mage like this.
Let's go. I don't feel like I'm good after this, but I do feel like I understand how to be good. You know what I mean?
So I think part of getting good is realizing how bad you are and how much there is to learn and improve. The reason I originally started playing Black Mage was because my uncle got me to play Final Fantasy. He's the guy who got me to play Final Fantasy, and I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be the cool guy like my uncle who plays Black Mage, and I wanted to be better than him originally. And that's why I started like optimizing Black Mage originally.
Are you better than him now?
He doesn't play anymore. He doesn't semi-trade anymore. He used to semi-trade. I think he's a smart player. We used to spreadsheet together, and it was fucking cool. I had a...
Wait, that's sick.
Yeah, we had like a bunch of Excel sheets we did together at the start of Stormblood.
And there it was. At the end of the week, in many ways I felt like more of a beginner than I had started at. But that wasn't because I hadn't improved. In fact, it was the opposite. It was because I had become aware of the job's real capabilities. The walls of limitation had fallen down, and suddenly I was more confident and capable of planning myself in such a way that would give me the foundation to one day, if I put the work in, be genuinely good at Black Mage. More than that, I was enjoying it deeply. I honestly think, thanks to Taco and to making this video, that I've gained a new appreciation for Black Mage, especially considering that many tout it as completely brain dead now. The Master Caster still contains some hidden depth, even in the 7.x era. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, I really do appreciate it. I have a Patreon. You don't need to support it, but if you do, it'll allow me to keep uploading here more regularly. This video was available early to patrons, and there are updates and exclusive content that go up there regularly. As well as that, you'll be included in the credits of future videos. The people on screen now are the reason I was able to make this one, and I'm greatly appreciative. No pressure though, and of course, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.